Hey, you guys, welcome to the Shit Show, episode 21. We're going to have ourselves a cosmic conversation with Ashley Ash. She's a guy that lives up in upstate New York. A lot of great things, a lot of mysterious type UFO type action kind of going on up there. I live out on the West Coast in Oregon, around the McMinnville area, where we've had some definitely some strange things happen ourselves out here. And so before I pop her and Rip City up, I wanted to just kind of showcase a little video real quick that AJ Rip City made, just kind of rolling out the red carpet for Ashley Ash here. And then I'm going to hit an intro for us after this video.
Crypto dreams, let's ride, let's ride. Ride! King Pui, never die. Best coins, take it high. Moon bound, touch the sky. Pumping, making waves on the blockchain craze. Let's ride, let's ride. Ride. King Pui, never die. Best coin, take it high. Moon bound, touch the sky. Pumping, making waves.
All right, guys, before I pull her up, here's one more video about the queens of crypto and everything that we're trying to foster and build here in Pulsechain, and just with people. Let's network, let's grow, let's get together, let's talk about conversation, insightfulness. And I'm really excited about this conversation. I believe that we're going to go down some areas in which that, people just don't always talk about, but it's very insightful. It's fun. I've had a great conversation with Ashley Ash before. I'm excited about this one. This is going to be cool. Just tune in, you guys. We're going to come back. Let's do this.
Crypto queens, yeah, we rising to the top. Richard Hart, Pulsechain will never stop. Self-improvement, wealth, we're breaking the mold. Queens of the kingdom, watch us unfold. Whitney Magic counting millions, moving fast. Charlie 2020, turning art into crypto cash. Man, bringing NFTs, patent digital dreams. Sammy Chica, Hexakin, Aussie pride on the scene. Tam repping Richard Hart every day. Evangelist for freedom, changing the game away. Jackie Mean Queen got the world laughing loud. Harmonic Hexakin singing to crypto crowds.
Queens of the kingdom, crypto in our veins. We own the future, breaking every chain.
Hex and Pulsechain, building our wealth.
King Pui, Queen Pui, reigning in stealth. From the shining city high on the hill. Freedom through DeFi, we flexing that skill. Crypto's our path to self-improvement and gain. Queens of the blockchain, we're changing the game.
SMO fighter weaving webs across the net. Viber Lindsay teaching how to grow and reset. CC Blonde Texan, crypto crown on tight. Wild SJ traveling, taking crypto to new heights. KTP OG from the land down under. Samantha Yoga Queen, Zen moves like thunder. Ashley Ash, Cosmic Cheek on another plane. Sandy Beach spreading love, changing up the game. Jory the network diva, connecting the dots. Rachel the education star, always on top. Crypto culture, a badass, bossing up with pride. Crypto stylist, always fashion by her side. Hot fourth of my queen, stacking up her bags. Suzanne the diamond queen, dripping riches like swag. Queen the beauty beast, moving fierce, no delay. Expensive football queen, running plays all day.
Queens of the kingdom, crypto in our veins. We own the future, breaking every chain.
Hex and Pulsechain, building our wealth.
King Pui, Queen Pui, reigning in stealth. From the shining city high on the hill. Freedom through the fire, we flexing that skill. Crypto's our path to self-improvement and gain. Queens of the blockchain, we're changing the game.
From Richard Hart's vision to our own crown, crypto queens are rising, we'll never back down. Pulsechain, Hex, DeFi, it's all in our hands. We're breaking the limits, taking over the lands. With King Pui, Queen Pui, we light up the scene. In the shining city, crypto reigns supreme. Queens of the kingdom, forever we strive. Freedom, wealth, and power, we keeping it live. We are the crypto queens, forever standing tall. In the kingdom of blockchain, we answer the call. Wealth, freedom, self-love, we found our way. The queens of crypto are here to stay.
And I'm gonna pull up Rip City. I'm gonna pull up Ashley Ash. Let's have this conversation. Yeah.
Hey,
Hey.
nice to see you guys. Been a
Yeah.
while.
It's been like I think like 2 years
I
since we
think
had
so.
that last little conversation. I believe we had Facing Reality, Mr. Flat Earther,
Yes,
and
yeah.
it is now. Great dude. I've actually
Yeah.
hung out with him in real life.
He's
He's
a good guy.
he's a great guy. And this particular thumbnail, you're right. I did have to kind of dig deep for that one. And just to let everyone know at home, this thumbnail was not like I kind of take a little bit of pride like in making thumbnails. I really didn't have to do much about this one because this was an actual photo of you. Tell me a little bit about it. I mean, you're at what, like the UFO fair or something like that?
Yeah. So you when you introduced me, you said upstate New York. I'm actually a downstater, so I am
Okay.
like one town away from the Bronx, and so we have a lot of pride in our geographic definitions
Right.
for many reasons. And one of them is like, so this is also downstate. This fair I went to in
Okay.
this downstate region, we were like a UFO hotspot in the 80s, in the beginning of the 90s. So one of the biggest hotspots, they call it the Roswell of the East Coast, is located in a little town called Pine Bush. And every year they have a big UFO fair and parade, and they have a museum. And so this was, I want to say 2017, maybe
Mhm.
at the UFO fair, because they're like, okay, here's a photo op with an alien abduction, and I'm like, of course I have to do that. Um, yeah, so this is our famous little local thing. And one of the cool things about Pine Bush is that like the Phoenix Lights, everybody knows about the Phoenix Lights, right?
Yeah.
For anyone that doesn't know, huge, massive sighting that so many people in Phoenix, Arizona saw. And it was
Right.
like a chevron shaped sighting. So, and it made national news. And so the thing with Pine Bush and the whole Hudson Valley was in the 80s and the beginning of the 90s, we were having sightings like that every single night, like to the point where people
Jeez.
would stop on the side of the parkways and get out and stare. And you could like ask anybody who was like alive and older back then, did you see this? And then like everybody has a story. So we are like, so that's why they call this town the Roswell, the East Coast. We're a huge, like we're like a quiet UFO hotspot. That's our interesting little UFO tidbit for here, because we got some
Well,
ley lines coming through this area.
that's right. And I have heard a lot about the Hudson Valley. I've heard a lot about it. And isn't that upstate? Or is that
So
no?
no, so it's still in the southern like tier of the state. So it's
Okay.
like you're inching closer to upstate eventually as you get up there, but we're still, we're still considered downstate. It depends who you ask. A lot of people like to fight it and there's debate. But yeah, but we are yeah, we're downstate. And oh yeah, also Sleepy Hollow, Legend of Sleepy Hollow, that's also here too. So you got all
Jeez.
that creepy stuff happening.
AJ, he's out working. T in here, buddy. I know you're just
I
excited
am
about this one
working.
too, but I know you're
Yeah,
excited about this because we have these like cosmic, conversations all the time, AJ and myself. And I said, hey, we're gonna be bringing on Ashley Ash, and we've had these conversations together with her, and she just brings another element that, like, one, not a lot of people in general speak about it, but then for you, you're so in depth as a woman that like you just blow a lot of people's minds with your insight, your like how much you've deep dived into this conversation. AJ, what say to you, buddy?
welcome, Ashley. We really appreciate you coming on. I have
Thank
been
you for
digging
having me.
into you a little bit. I did actually make you a couple things. One we didn't get to, we're not going to be able to show today, but I'll send it to you. But I did make that little I don't know, it's a flash
Sizzle
video
reel.
that I made
Sizzle
for
reel, yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Oh,
If
I'm
you didn't get
excited
to
to
see
see
it,
it. Thank
yeah.
you.
But anyway, look. I'm literally here. I'm just about to walk into the plant, but I'm eager to listen about everything that you're talking about because I definitely am into a lot of things. I've had a kind of a journey through whether I believe or not. I won't say if I do or not, but there is some things that I've always thought, that kind of changed over time. But I literally am just getting off of like, do you know who Jack Cruz is?
No, I don't think so.
Oh my gosh, I'm just getting off this Andrew Huberman Jack Cruz podcast. It's like supposed to be the greatest podcast of all time. This brain surgeon who's basically challenging all of science, and so I'm kind of deep in a hole with this. But anyway, cosmic consciousness, I'm all in, and definitely, I just want to know. I just want to know what the truth is. Through all time, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole,
Yeah.
right?
There's that New York. I'm like,
Yeah.
she doesn't sound like she's from New York.
I guess it just comes out at random portions. I once
Yeah, I love it.
Somebody once described it. Oh, it's like an elegant New York. You know, it's not like. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
that's a way to
no.
put it.
It's good. I had well, I should say I had a stepdad who was from the Bronx back in the 80s. And yeah, so I got to know the voice really well.
Yeah. What accent? I like to think I don't have
I
one.
know. We have accents.
I know. I often wonder what people think about the West Coasters and the people that aren't from down south and don't have that southern twang.
Yeah.
Probably sounds boring. They're like,
Well, you know,
what?
I mean, it's another tangent. I won't go into it, but I have a theory. Like when you look at English phonetics, that
Mhm.
you know, give or take a few pronunciations, but for the most part, we are the phonetically correct English pronunciations
right.
because
Mm.
nowhere else makes sense. Like,
That's right.
True.
and that's a whole other rant, which I won't go into. But I got the backup for that. Maybe one
Yeah.
day.
Really glad to have you, Ashley.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's obviously you are one of the queens and you are part of this community. And so we're grateful to have you, and absolutely would love to have you come back anytime.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me. It's fun to be on a stream again.
Yeah, like how long has it been? You've had a little hiatus? Is
Oh
that-
yeah,
is that
long hiatus.
long
Yeah.
hiatus. Just been taking care of stuff in real life. I mean,
Yeah, just life circumstances changed, made it harder to get into streams at night, and then there was no time during the day. But I always think about how I'd love to come back into it.
Mhm.
And then even in that portion, you know, sometimes you start to get a little disenchanted in certain ways. Like when the government
Sure.
starts talking about aliens, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do the
Oh my
opposite.
God.
I don't want to acknowledge what you're saying. Now I'm gonna hate aliens because you talked about it. A little oppositional.
I love how they're just, it's like I've been, 50 years of desensitization. I'm just waiting for the day that they just,
Yeah.
or this would have been here all along, right?
Yeah, and you know what? And everybody's like, "Oh, disclosure! I can't wait till the government does disclosure." I'm sorry, but there's never going to be true disclosure because they always have
No.
their own interest. You know, whatever they're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
roll out or whatever they're going to tell us, there's always something else going on with it.
I
Never
mean,
gonna trust them.
My outlook is like we are the ones floating on a rock in the middle of space. We're the aliens, man.
Right? Yeah. What do they? Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, even what is it called? Even not figuratively, even figuratively. If you're a
Sure.
Christian in Romans, it says, we're aliens on this earth.
That's right.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly
Sure.
believe that. Some of them like Elon, who fully admits it. He totally is like, I am an alien. So, okay. Some of them got a little bit better
He's hard
deal.
Yeah. He's a tough one.
I was
Yeah.
just watching his story. He's got a new Netflix. I don't know if it's new, but I was just checking him out from all the way back when he was a little boy, and how much of a genius he was, and how his mom, garnered all that. She allowed him to flourish in all of that. But him and his brother, it's a great story if you haven't watched it.
Oh no, I didn't even know there was a documentary out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I'll give him credit where credit's due. Like, yeah, no, I mean he's pretty brilliant. I hate Teslas. I hate electric cars.
Yeah.
I parked between two Teslas today. I gave him the dirtiest look because I'm parked there with my American SUV, and I'm like,
That's right.
So, but yeah, I just find him a little sus, and I know, people divided along party lines. People on the right love him, people on the left hate him. But I kind of feel like just floating outside of that whole dynamic and being like, I don't trust it. I don't trust it.
Is he like good for humanity? And that's questionable, right?
Yeah.
What is he
for
really
sure.
doing? What does he really have to? What are the behind the scenes?
Yeah.
I think he might believe that he's trying to do good,
Hmm.
And I mean, anybody that with that type of heart for me is in a good place. I mean, we need better people in the world, and especially that are in positions of power and can make decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, from the outside, he looks like he's doing a lot of great things. I just always have my my antenna up for like what's really going on. Because I think also what really throws me is the Neuralink.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes.
Transhumanism. Once somebody
Yeah.
starts just dabbling in transhumanism,
Yeah.
then they're like out of my, I'm like, nope, you're not my friend.
Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, it could be used for the bad, right? I mean, you have a weapon. It could be used for good or it could be used for bad. And I think I mean, even AI that's coming out. I mean, it's not good, you guys.
No, no.
We're in trouble, but
Yeah.
it's all been written before. I think, but I know on the longs of space travel and going to Mars and stuff, I really think Elon needs to sit down with Terrence Howard and realize that it's not going to happen, dude.
How so? Why won't it happen?
Yeah.
Terrence, if you haven't dug into Terrence Howard and how he believes that the planets were formed,
Hmm.
he basically believes that all of mass comes from an ejection from the star that we're in, and he can
Yeah.
tell by math how far the planets are away and how
Mhm.
dense and how uninhabitable as the further you get from that star, it's just not possible to have life.
Yeah.
If you haven't dug into Terrence Howard,
Yeah.
you
It sounds
should.
interesting.
Oh my God. Do you know who Terrence Howard is?
You know what? The name sounds vaguely familiar. I don't know if he's like one
Okay.
of those guys where if I looked at his stuff, I'll be like, oh, that's who that is. I'm not
So
sure.
Terrence Howard,
he's an
Hustle and Flow.
actor. He's
Yeah,
he's
Oh, okay.
he's the actor from like Hustle and Flow. What else? What other movies? Bottom line is like when he talks about acting, he's
you'll
like,
recognize him when you
I'm
yeah,
gonna
see
look him
him.
up right
you'll
now.
recognize him, but he's like, acting is just something I did for money, and it
Mhm.
just comes so easy to me. But he's like, he believes that like he's like going back to it. He's like, he believes that he's like a star child. Like he knows that like he's like
You're gonna freak, Ashley,
yeah,
when you read into this guy.
like when you listen to him, he's like he talks so wisdom about like his past life. Like he like believes like he remembers like being in the womb of his mom, kind of
Yes.
like woo woo talking. You're like, what the heck? But
It's going to blow your mind, and it's coming from an actor, so you kind of got to listen. Look, you can tell if somebody's acting or if they're actually being genuine. And I think if you just give him a little chance, because he does go off into these tangents, because he's got, you know what, geniuses, they have so much going on. It comes out in all different ways. But I think that if you like give him a chance and just let him talk, like you can go on to Joe Rogan. He did a podcast with Joe Rogan not too long ago. But he's obviously being put down because he's an actor and people aren't taking him seriously. But I'm telling you, he is a very big deal. And I think once you start getting into the stuff like the Flower of Life and all the patents that he's created, it will blow your mind what he's talking about. But that podcast with Joe Rogan, he goes into like, he's got 3 hours to talk about a life full of stuff. And so he's like throwing it out there. It's just like, it's mind-blowing stuff. But I got to run in, you guys. And I'm going to be looking for a report back, Ashley.
I don't know. I'm a little like, When I looked him up, I recognize him now.
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't know, the Star Child stuff. I've never bought into that, but we'll see.
I wouldn't say
I'll look into it.
John says Star Child, but I don't think. Give him a shot. Give him a chance, and I think he'll blow your mind for sure. All right, you guys.
yeah.
Thank
No,
you.
when I
Nice
say
seeing you.
yeah, when I say star child, I guess there's I just feel like there's so much within us that we haven't unlocked that we don't realize our full potential. I think everyone individually, and it's just anyways, it's interesting. Like I think that, as we're kind of going down this cosmic conversation and UFOs and aliens, like I personally have had my encounter, and like I've often seen like, lights off in the distance, and you could kind of question it whether it was real or not. But then one particular day out here in Oregon, I know that I had what they call like a cigar shape,
Yeah.
and it was basically a skyscraper size at 3 in the morning, right above me. I stopped the car. I got out. It was just me on this country road, and there was this telekinesis moment where they knew I seen them,
Mm.
and it just sat there, and it went probably 10 miles per hour. If I could hit a golf ball, I could have hit it. It was that low. And it just kind of like blew my mind because that entire day I didn't tell anyone about it. It was just like, what do you tell people?
Yeah.
And then it's like, so we're going to war for oil, and there you have this. If you can make anti-gravity for a paperclip, you can make it for a skyscraper, and
Yeah.
you're thinking like, wow, we're going to war for all this like energy, but they obviously don't have an energy problem up there.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I
that
mean?
kind of energy doesn't make money.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it just kind of blew my mind
Yeah.
about like everything, whether it's spiritual, religion, politics, energy, and our wars. And I just sat there so dumbfounded all day for like an entire week.
Mhm.
I also felt like it was like this intimate moment where like I can't just go tell people about this. It's weird. You know what I mean? Like, and so like we talk about Neuralink and like these adaptation. I feel like we're already kind of wired for the collective to be tuned into it. Like in that moment, I was very aware that they knew I was aware of them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
like there was no Neuralink connection. It was just like, wow, this is peculiar. Um, but I've always been into that kind of stuff, and I've always, obviously we had a conversation back in the day, and I just um, part of what we're doing is wanting to open up the facets of people's minds beyond just crypto. We want to have conversations about all kinds of topics, and I don't want this. Really, I don't want this to be just geared towards this either. I want you to feel like you can just talk about whatever. I mean, these are just fascinating things to me. And I don't always have these conversations with people because, like, I'm not like if I want to talk to some family members, they'd be like, "John, come on, come on,
No, there's
let's
certain people you can't talk about this with. They'll
you just
never
can't."
grasp it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like just leave that alone. But it's like like if you see someone off in the lights and it's like kind of it's kind of like you said, the Phoenix. Everyone that saw that Phoenix was like, I don't care what you tell me.
Yeah.
I saw what I saw,
Yeah.
and it was ginormous, and it was like you said, it was probably like one that took up the entire skyline. And I mean, that kind of stuff, it's not just like a bunch of lights just off in the distance kind of doing
No.
crazy patterns. It's like, okay, that's like bigger than Manhattan,
Yeah.
and it,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense.
Oh
But
yeah. You hear so many reports of like city-sized things. Yeah, things that just like completely don't make sense because there is that argument. Oh well, the government has this technology and that's their crafts they're flying around. And I'm sorry, the government. Yeah, I'm sure their technology is 50, 100 years ahead of what they let on, but they're not flying ships the size of cities around. Where they're not at that point. And yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that whole thing of they saw you and they reacted, right? That cigar shaped object, right?
yeah,
It knew, because you hear so many reports of that same thing happening, and even me, I've seen something in the sky, and then it reacts to what you're saying about it, and then decides to cloak itself. Like the second that it's like found out, and I witnessed it with other people happen, and I'm like, this thing is responding to what we're saying.
hmm
So that's kind of those things plus other factors lead me to think that these aren't explorers from another world. They're not Martians. They're not that these are this has a spiritual component to it, and that's why it can hear whatever is going on, whatever conversation. And people I know want to say, oh well, they have equipment, supersonic equipment, but how are they? It just, to me, it has a more spiritual component to it because people have gone and done like spiritual things where they summon these crafts and they come up, which I would not do. I would not advise. I think these things are nefarious. I mean, have you kind of explored it from that angle, that nefarious, spiritual being angle?
I've heard that talking point. Before we go down this path any farther, I believe that I've had the same conversations with Hexecutioner. I want to pull him up so he can kind of go down this nefarious conversation
Uh-huh.
of cosmics. Hexecutioner. What's up, buddy?
Hey guys.
Hey.
This is Ashley Ash, and we've had some great conversations in the past. They're not always cosmic. They're sometimes crypto. There's sometimes all kinds of stuff. And so, welcome to the party, buddy.
This is a good conversation. I like this.
Yeah.
I like that you guys are
Stuff to
coming
talk
from,
about.
yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are coming from multiple angles here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, like, there's so much going on in the world. I'm not even going to get into like what's happening like November 5th. We got politics, we got wars, we got, people in crypto that are so just like head in the ground, almost like ostriches. Like I've seen the meme of like, the world's on fire, but we're in crypto, and they're just like, like you have to be so well rounded and kind of like look at things like there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's exciting stuff. But like this particular subject is, in some respects, I know I'm deep into crypto, but this is like, when all things go, like this one might get the cake for me. You know what I mean? As far as like, this is like a lot more like, I don't know, like internet goes down, all wars break out. It's like, okay, is it time to go off planet with the I don't even know who the alien, like, let's go, but point being is, let's go back to the nefarious thing. I want to hear more about the nefarious angle that you're coming at with it. You think that maybe they have a ulterior motive, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So, sorry, are you asking me or are you asking?
Yeah, I'm asking you, Ash.
Okay. Yeah, no, so I do take that. I mean, and I know a lot of Christians will say, because also, the little warning, my worldview is Christian. I explore everything through that lens. So there's a lot of Christians who do say, aliens are demons. And I'm like, no, I don't believe that. It's much more complicated than that, because demons are spiritual beings. These clearly have a physical body. They're doing things to people. They're working together with the government. They could come down and make treaties, the Grey-Otter Treaty. So there's something else at play here. And then, you kind of get people talk about that whole, Nephilim, Genesis 6 side of it. And then I've heard other people say that, no, they're not that, but there's some sort of other part of creation, whether there's some like underground species that I think they're called cryptoterrestrials, right? The underground ones, or like androids from those species. So then, there's like, there's a ton of different angles you can take that into. But bottom line, I look at it as they're nefarious, because they're like, they're kind of like torturing people when they abduct people. You hear some people who are like, oh, it was magical and it was this and that, and they revealed everything to me. But most times an abduction is like this traumatic, horrendous experience. And so I'm like, you can't be a benevolent species or whatever you are, and and be like just horrifying people and making life miserable. So I mean, so even if you just look at it at its most basic level, it's like, yeah, it's nefarious. And then if you want to start getting into the whole like spiritual aspects of it, like a lot of times, like a demonic infestation, they also follow similar patterns. And again, I don't think they're demons, but whether they're related to the demonic. So I'm still like, my ideas are always kind of changing on it. So I don't have like a set thing of like, this is what I believe. But bottom line, just the basic thing that never changes is that it's nefarious and that there's a spiritual component to it.
Do you think there's, just like there's different races, Black, Hispanic, Asian, white, do you think there's different species, whether it's like Anunnaki or reptilian, or like that maybe have different agendas, like, and they're trying to rule over the human race, or like, because the greatest ruler would be like, it would be like the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist, like, so like, like as an alien species, if you wanted them to like you said, make these treaties, and you went to these rulers of these worlds and the presidents, and you're like, hey, we basically want you to build us some stuff in Antarctica, but we're going to give you certain technologies, and you basically have to get black budget money to go help us build these things, and you're never going to see us, and we're never, what I mean? Like, so I could see that there could be almost like this mob boss like mentality where they hide in the shadows.
Yeah.
And then there might be a different species who are like, hey, these reptilians are pretty messed up, and I just don't know. Like it's all these unknowns. I will say this much in that moment that I'm sitting there and watching that gigantic, cigar shaped object. It wasn't like I did not sense any fear. I'll say that
Mhm.
much. There was not like, oh gosh, they're going to send a tractor beam down at me and just zap me. You know what I mean?
Beam you up.
I didn't feel that. If anything, it just kind of lingered throughout the day of this continuous cosmic like consciousness, like of questioning and working through a lot of those things. And it wasn't like there was no fear in it. It was just like, okay,
I
how do
think
I,
that
yeah.
maybe potentially you don't feel fear because you don't know what to be afraid of, but they might fear you because of that potential that you have as a human, or all of us have as a human, that they can't do, like astral projection and the potential to telekinesis and move things with your mind. If they can't do it, they do not want us to have that power unlocked, especially if you take into consideration maybe the nefarious side might have to do with a timeline that we can't recollect.
Mhm.
If we only live for 40 to 80 years, if they live for 900 years, that's multiple generations where one of them that's been alive for that long can easily control the narrative and change
Yeah.
the narrative however it wants. Another thing, when you guys were talking about when you're looking into the sky and you see something and it seems as if it knows that you're looking, have you guys considered maybe the potential of entanglement?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone down that path a little bit, but yeah,
Because
I've heard the conversation about entanglement and what
yeah,
have you.
well, because the only thing that would express the availability for movement faster than light would be entanglement,
Mhm.
where you can instantaneously transfer information from one place to another. And as Ash brought up, that maybe there are technologies out there that can sense those types of things in the entanglement of electrons, which I mean they're throughout your entire body, right? Everything.
Mm.
So if you did have a thought process, then it can instantaneously pick up those thought processes. Um, and maybe also consider that it's not aliens, but it's potentially just us.
It
Mhm.
is. It is us. Are you reading the comments?
Me?
Yeah, I've been reading
This
them.
is
No.
this is great.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I know that we have ourselves the shit show and we're in Pulsechain land and Hexaco and we talk crypto, but it's has to be so much more than this. We have to be so much more well-rounded and diverse and these kind of conversations aren't going to go away. Like, let's have them, you know what I mean? Let's talk about them. Let's travel down this path. Um, so yeah, I mean, Ash, we've been obviously going down the path of a lot of different things, but the one thing that we've been trying to do more and more on our show is to incorporate the women of crypto slash just. I know that you're in crypto, but I also know that you're more well-rounded than a lot. So it's like we like to have. We're just trying to uplift the women. We call them queens, the queens of crypto, and so we want to have these conversations where we we have fun, we make things fun again, and it doesn't always have to be about crypto. Let's just talk about the realness of having questions about these obscure questions that we have that sometimes I don't know if we'll ever have the answers to them, but I feel like if you don't ask them, if you don't like invite that opportunity to talk about them with other people, then you're just kind of living in a box and you're just kind of hiding from it.
100%. And like, if I could just jump on into
Yeah.
that line of thought, I mean, the powers that be, the people that pull the strings in this world, they don't want us thinking outside of the box. They put us in schools to train us to think within their boxes, within their limits. So like, this challenges them. This is a problem for them. So I'm like, if this is a problem for them, this is what we should all be doing. Even if we don't agree or believe any of this, just the fact that we're exchanging ideas and information, I feel like also prepares you for anything they might throw at you. So what
Mhm.
is it, Project Bluebeam, any way they want to mess with us, like, we're ready. Like, versus like all the normie NPC type people, um who just go about life like not even thinking about any of this. Like they're the ones who are really going to get thrown off course and off balance and going to be deceived through, what's coming up. So this exchange of information, I feel like is, when we talk about prepping and preparedness, this is a part of this too, the exchanging of ideas so that you can fight against that power that's happening right now. Yeah, they want a bunch of indoctrinated NPCs. Exactly. So this is a way of resisting.
Yeah.
I also think it's like I talk about desensitization since the 50s. I think it's a Hollywood thing that they've created this fear in all of us. And honestly, as far as the nefarious goes, like if there is another species of human here on the planet, and they're watching us, if they were nefarious at all, we would have been annihilated a long time ago. And not that we probably haven't been annihilated in past history, but I do think that there's like a desensitization that's going on. But if it's anybody's choice to come out, it would be them. And I don't think the human race is ready yet. I think there's too much like knee-jerk reaction, like all these aliens are out to kill us. I think that is a bad seed that got planted a long time ago. And if that wouldn't have happened, maybe we would be more evolved than we are today with the beings or whatever it is. I think it's us from the future, right?
People see drones in the sky and they freak out thinking it's aliens. I mean,
yeah, and a lot of them are ready to just shoot things, right, and kill them.
Yeah.
And I think that's horrible.
I think that the bloodlines, like showing that, in recent history, it's been delineated down to like very few humans and then expanded back out again as if there's a repopulation that happened
Right.
less than 10,000 years ago, would suggest that we've been, as our human species, pretty close to wiped out multiple times.
Multiple.
Yeah.
Like this civilization, this time, like we've been here many, many times. I mean, obviously the pyramids are proof of that. It's been a long history, and we just can't get it right.
Yeah.
And if we're not careful, we're gonna get wiped out again.
The pyramids are so interesting. That baffles me all the time too. It's just like how were they built? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing. Like how like they're like, no, not every stone is just cookie cutter. It's not like a brick on a brick house where it's like the same dimensions. Like every single one is like a different size to fit. Just like it's not like just a bunch of Lego blocks. It's like custom made, and it's like,
yeah,
doggone it, we can't even repeat that now with all the heavy equipment that we have.
But there's so much going on with recent discoveries, recent studies, people that are more curious now than they've ever been, that are looking into old theories, and like if you're looking at the Snake Brothers or Graham Hancock, all these people that are looking into ancient civilizations and trying to figure out what the truth is. It's a great place to be in history. I would just like to know, what's going on. Can we just get the truth?
No, you're probably not going to get.
Please.
Probably not going to.
Hey, you never know. John and I talk about being, putting our consciousness into, a being or an AI that could be here 1,000 years from now or 2,000 years from now, and figure it all out. I would be down for that.
Well, interesting. Like going back to the Great Reset in humanity, like being like, kind of pared down to just a few humans. So I wanted to jump back on that thought. I was just pondering it. Well, it's interesting because even like ancient people believe that happened. So it's not just our DNA evidence. Like it was, besides, it was written about in the Bible. The Jews and Christians believe that, but every other culture has a great deluge story that they call it. So I'm like, it's incredible that it's not just our tech telling us that. It's also something that they knew for it's been in the human history for thousands of years. So it's like you constantly have proof that there was some sort of cataclysm.
It's scary though, right? Like, just thinking about like if silverback gorillas had like intelligence where they can kind of communicate with each other, how strong and powerful they are.
Yeah.
And then thinking about actual Neanderthals being around, and like people who would suggest that they're stupid and like dumbfounded, like just walking around all retarded, right? Well, I guess that's not correct words, but whatever. but they'd be massive, hulking, like humanoid individuals that are like hunting us down and eating us and killing us, and like that would be scary shit.
Yeah, horrifying.
Yeah, they're like running around in droves. Just that would be very, very scary, and we're kind of weak compared to them. You know, they'd be
Oh yeah.
10 to 15 times stronger than us, just wiping out massive amounts of people.
Oh, it's terrifying. And I mean, when you think about it, maybe that's part of the origin of the uncanny valley phenomenon. Like, because Neanderthals didn't quite look human. So it was, it's so that's why we have that reaction that sets us off when we see something that's not quite right, and it's something human looking. I like to get even a little more woo woo about that. And I was like, all right, what the creatures were walking around the earth to put that into human psychology. But even something like that, the Neanderthals too, different kind of human, but not quite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then something happened where that stopped, and now we rule the earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
It also makes me think of maybe other species who live, like I said, a lot longer than we do, who have the ability of controlling the narrative for whatever that may be, some nefarious type of purpose. Because of that, they get to hold the control. They get to control what we know. They don't need money. They want humans.
Yeah.
And we got plenty of us to give to. So, yeah, it's crazy. Now, Bigfoot. Who wants to talk about it?
Well, I want to jump on what you said for a second before we go to Bigfoot. I mean, that kind of plays into that whole idea of that our government is the biggest traffickers of humans to these other things. I totally believe our government are human traffickers to these entities. That's what the Greada Treaty was. Okay, you give us tech, we're going to traffic our people to you and keep everything under wraps. So you got whoever playing the long game, but you also got, our people in our government just like, okay, we're going to help you. We got a bunch of alien simps happening. But sorry, I had to throw that in there. Had to call our government traffickers. But sorry, let's move on to Bigfoot now.
Well, I think that I've seen like a map overlay of like the cave systems versus where all the disappearances happen at, and they seem to be like consolidated in like those heat map groups of right where those cave systems are is where everybody disappears. So it's I know that people talk about lizard people coming out and doing that, like grabbing people and the rest of that. So maybe there are. I don't know. I don't really feed into the lizard people thing. I don't think too much. But to be able to hold people underground, we already know that there's underground cities, and what do they call them? Dumbs.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Dumbs underground to hold people for long durations of time. So maybe it's not so obvious if they want more people at certain specific times or something like this. But yeah, there's just a lot correlating that somebody wants all those people.
Yeah. The dumbs are disturbing when you start diving into that. I mean, that's really like, that's going on under us. I mean, there's been abduction stories where people are like, oh no, I wasn't taken into a ship. I was taken underground, and there were military down there working with these creatures that abducted me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's dark.
That goes into that whole thought process of those treaties that you talked about, where it's like how do they get made, like right under it, like who is building those things, and like how are they just like gag order, like why, like what, where's the whistleblower on that? Like do they have such a strong telekinesis with these workers that they are always tuned into their thoughts, where like anytime they kind of think about blowing the whistle, it's like a little like earpiece, like no, remember like our like what will happen if you speak up, like who's building those kind of things that like where like they say, I mean, supposedly, like they're ginormous, where it's like semi trucks are driving down there, and like you said, where it's just like worker bees down there just doing their thing, and it's just like Yeah, it's just crazy stuff.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I believe those chambers were already there. They just went in and occupied them. Because, like, when you talk about any of the great flood stories, the great deluge, they say waters came out from the deep. A lot of the waters came out from underground. And people believe that those dams were those, like, water chambers that kind of held things. So, you know, the various people, governments, whatever came in are like, oh, this is perfect. Let's build it down here. So that makes sense, because otherwise I feel like, you know, somebody would get tipped off to whatever excavation is happening down there. So I think they already moved into whatever was happening, and then built their cities. But you know, there's too many people that talk about, like, oh, I saw a mesa open up out west and something flew in, like, you know, like it was an entrance underground, or I saw a side of a mountain open up and something.
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not a lover of our governments and these people that rule, because I'm like, you know what, they're in league with all these people. I mean, I guess that ties into my election feelings too. But yeah, unfortunately, our own people have betrayed us. And like you were saying, like, what, you know, what's going on? Are they getting this thing? Don't betray us. But I think it also comes down to everybody has a price, and what were those people's prices? And we saw what people's prices were these past 4 years with COVID and mandates and all this and that. So, and the same applies to this thing. They've all been bought in some way.
Humans are pretty easily manipulated.
Yeah.
To be controlled and stuff, and silenced too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was some areas out in Nevada so look back to the white tic tac like stuff, right? I guess there's been like 12 different sites that are out there where these tic tacs have been sighted on the ground. Google's kind of obfuscated a lot of it now, but people that were paying attention to that then had already saved the screenshots where these locations were. And they're all in the same base, like all over the place, but there's no roads that go to any of the actual locations where they're building it. So it suggests that it was all underground. So these guys go look at it and they see that there's third-party contractors that were brought in from somewhere else. And the people in the town saw that there was like $500 million is like $500 billion today. But the people in Nevada like saw that this construction effort was happening, and they obviously were like, hey, we want work. Let's go out there. And they're like, no, we're not. We don't want any outside people coming in and working here. We already have everybody that we need. And then when you look through the paperwork, that like they only spent maybe $500,000. That's it. And built all of these, a bunch of stuff, entire bases and all sorts of stuff. But then the rest of it in the paperwork is like, says that it was all in dark efforts, black funds and stuff like this, where the rest of the money potentially just disappears and nobody knows where it went. It's crazy. Like they could just make those people just disappear if they're using already third-party contractors that could be from another country that, you know, they could easily be silenced anyway.
Yeah.
Taking all the rights away. So.
Really talented.
It's like when Donald Rumsfeld talked about the Pentagon just somehow misappropriating $2.3 trillion, like before 9/11. He's just like, we don't know where it's at. And it kind of leans towards that whole black budget money of just like, they do know where it's at. It's just like, they're just not going to account for it. It's not going to be on the ledger of a line item of something where it's like, oh yeah, we were building something in Nevada.
Right.
You know what I mean?
How
like,
sad that we're funding that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And or like they just keep heaping it into a black hole of deficit where at some point they'll say, guess what, everyone? We're going to go ahead and do a reset. And just want to let you know there's a new form of currency to the general public where, don't worry, this is a really good thing. Our deficit's gone. And all the meantime, they've been able to build out this entire infrastructure based on that deficit. And then they get to enslave the people by a great reset. You know, this is awesome. You mean to tell me that we're going to get like basically a monthly stipend to like go spend money on food and the things that we want. And but you have to stay within your 30-mile radius and spend it here. You know, it becomes that whole control
bug.
Yeah, exactly. And don't be driving your SUV, Ashley Ash. Good God, you know.
Yeah, then don't they have like timelines on it too? Like, we'll give you the money, but you have to spend it within 30 days or something like that.
Oh yes, I've heard
Your
that.
next one, so you have to spend all of it before you
So
get.
that you can never save.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, they totally want that because every step that they can get toward control, perfect. And how scary that people are willing to just constantly give up their rights. I mean, you know, we saw it with the Patriot Act in 2001, and I think unfortunately a lot of us got sucked into it. You know, as a kid, I was like, oh well, you know, when I learned about that, I was like, okay, that makes sense. But you know, so I mean, it's so easy to get, and then you start realizing you're like, wait, what? Did we just granted permission that's never gonna we're never going to get those rights back. You know, you start realizing it, and we saw it in 2020 and 2021, and just like people's mindsets, even though certain things like, oh, you know, we're back to normal. No, we're not back to a real normal, because you saw people for what they were. You saw how willing people are to give up their rights. You know, they're going to take more. They're never going to give anything back. And everybody was just happily like, here, take them, please take them. So yeah, so in terms of that, I totally see us going toward that and nobody fighting it. It sounds defeatist to say, but so far that's what everybody has proven of themselves, that they're going to try to institute stuff like that and everybody's going to go, thank you.
Yeah,
not everyone. Not everyone.
Oh yeah.
Hey, it was the great separation. Like, let's find out who's going to follow and who's going to not.
Well,
right?
we've already had some of that. Yeah, some of that evidence. But yeah.
We're marked. Get your guns.
Oh gosh, man. I know. Are we all like on a watch list?
Most likely. But it is like cooking a frog with the general public. You know, it's like you know, you're not going to just throw that frog into hot boiling water. It's just like we got to lull them to sleep. You know, it's like, don't worry, it's just the Patriot Act. Don't worry, it's just Great Reset. It's universal basic income. Don't worry. You know, rockabye baby, here you go. You know, and it's just, you know, it's just crazy, and I'm excited that these kind of conversations can still happen. You know, I know that they try to censor this kind of talk. They try to stop people from thinking outside the box, and they definitely don't want you to conversate about these kind of things. But that is the beauty of us coming together, talk about it. Like I said, when these kind of things do happen and reveal themselves to be false truths, if you will, that we're prepared for it, and that we're kind of like seeing that one coming. You know what I mean? Or maybe took a little bit of a curve, but you're kind of prepared for it. I think a lot of people were kind of like, you're not going to catch me with that COVID stuff or that jab. No. There's a lot of people that were like, no, I'm not going to fall into that trap. We've seen this before. We saw this with, you know, all kinds of stuff, you know, whether it was the
results. It used to be 3 o'clock in the morning when people would wait up all night long to be able to see the count come in. And now they're going, we need 10 days. Be like, no, you fucking don't.
No.
You're not
you need 10 days to figure out your rigging strategy.
Yeah. And they did it before. And like the slow cooking of the frog. I mean, it's a great analogy. And I think that's what they're doing with people these days, especially the new kids that are coming in. This is their first time voting. They're going to think that that's normal. That's not ever been normal.
Yeah.
It's not right.
No. Yeah. And it's been like that, for years. And people just didn't wake up until it was like in your face in 2020.
Yeah.
They're awfully bold. They're awfully bold, just right in your face. You're right.
Oh, yeah. They're not even hiding it now. Yeah. I mean, like, I've been a believer of that for a long time, ever since my first election that I could vote in. But, you know, you kind of felt like you were the only person who's like, oh, national elections are fake. You know, but, you know, now as time goes on, it's like, wow, no, because people are just, I don't know, they have had their brains destroyed and they don't pay attention to anything anymore, or I don't know, or just people don't care. Yeah. It's like they're pulling this stuff right in front of our faces. And you know, and like you said, people are taking that as their norm. People who are voting for the first time. Okay, this must be normal. So, I mean, but this is why I always say, I'm like, presidents are selected, not elected. I mean, it sounds defeatist, but I believe that this upcoming election has already been decided by the powers that be.
Absolutely. I'll be really surprised if if it goes one way, but I'm pretty sure that the illusion of the election is just that we don't have a choice,
Mhm.
and we're all in big trouble.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, yeah, either way, there's going to be problems. And there's going to be problems from, from government policies.
Where do we
and
go,
everything.
Ashley? Where do we
Oh,
go?
yeah, there's the other problem. But yeah,
Yeah.
because also there's fucking riots right after the
Yeah.
election, regardless of who wins.
I know that's
Yeah.
that's the scary part, and it's if it does go one particular orange man's way, there's going to be a lot of riots. It's just going to be like, I think there's going to be more riots if it goes that way than if it
Yeah.
goes the other way.
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be very upset because they're going to be like, I think this is completely rigged. And to the point, there was a particular, I'm not trying to make this into political, but there was a particular candidate that definitely seemed selected.
Hmm.
It does not look like that was democracy at its best.
The
No.
worst polling out of any opponent ever previous to her just being selected.
It's just amazing.
Nobody would even consider that. And then all of a sudden it's her, and then they just hop right on the train, like, oh yeah, this is it. This is where we're going because this is what we decided. It's like, whoa, holy crap,
Really makes you go, what are they up to?
Well, and they're also like positioning themselves that if Trump wins, that they're going to try and pull the 14th Amendment on him and try to force the Supreme Court to uphold that because of supposed indictments that make somebody liable. They're trying to perpetrate that he's now a felon when he was, so that a felon can't be president. So they'll, even if he wins, they're going to try to say, no.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
A lot of people would be very upset with that.
Oh, yeah. No, that'll really start something. I mean, we really do feel like we're like at a big powder keg moment in this country, whichever way it goes.
Somebody wants that. This isn't, this is being designed, I think, to happen this way. And it's going exactly with the way that they want it. And they want to try to get the same result. 9/11 didn't exactly cause, I don't think, the result that they wanted. And
I think it kicked it off, though.
Yeah. Well, 9/11 gave them the availability for the Freedom Act.
Yeah.
So, which, I mean, I think I was 18 or 19 when that came out and was interested in those types of things. And I realized that the majority of the pages were empty when they signed it. And so it's like, oh, that's scary as shit.
Yeah.
They're going to fill those pages in eventually,
Yeah. Yeah.
After it's been signed. So yeah, it's not good.
No,
Yeah. It's been progressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Progressively taking away your rights and
100%.
Yeah. So they can continue to keep doing what they're doing today. And boil that frog.
Yeah.
That's such a good one. I love that shit, Joe.
Just cooking the frog. Watch out. Well, I mean, if they just threw it in the hot water, a lot of people would ribbit their way out, right? And just kind of lull them to sleep with a little, warmer to the hot until you just realize that you're getting cooked. And you're about to become eaten. So,
well, and amphibians are transgender too. So, I mean, it really fits considering the day and age that we're in today.
Yeah,
right? It could be male and female. That's just joke.
AJ, you got any? I would like to, obviously welcome Ashley Ash to come on more often if you're open to it. We do try to keep the streams about 45 minutes to an hour because I don't know about you, but I've been in this space for quite some time and I've seen streams go for like 3 to 4 hours and they're great conversations, but you're like, man, I just can't do that even on like fast speed, and so we've been trying to be really consistent about just being Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, keep it about an hour. And then I think it gives us an opportunity to kind of roll back into it like on another stream. And that's the one good thing that we're trying to do too, is we're trying to hit home with the women, because I believe that the women of crypto, but also just women as a whole, but in the crypto space, I believe that this is their cycle to really shine and get the word out, because everything that we kind of try to preach as far as like DeFi and crypto is like, get out of the government and corporate institutions system. You need to get into DeFi. You need to like protect your energy and your sovereign wealth because they don't have your best interest. Bottom line, kind of going back to some of the talking points that we've had today, that there's a lot of things that you can do to protect yourself, call it, you know, preparedness or that kind of things. I believe that those are kind of the things that allow us to do so. And I believe that that population of women is going to explode this cycle. And I believe that there's a lot of women that can have those talking points. And we just want to have that opportunity for them to come shine. And you're one of those women that we want to have come shine.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. AJ, you have anything else you want to say before I kind of cue things
Jack
out?
Cruz, check him out.
All right. We'll send you a DM.
And I'll send you something, Ashley.
Yeah,
that I
thank you.
made for you. And yeah, it was great having you on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
thank you
Hexy,
guys
thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was fun chatting with you all. It was fun getting back into this.
Yeah. No,
our time is coming. Our time is coming.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I want to see you stream more. I mean, let's see the highest strangeness kind of get kicked off again and have those evening streams from you where you go down the rabbit hole and get, I want to see it. So
I've been itching to get back into it. So maybe this will be like the motivating factor to get back.
You notice that you got a shout out in the song?
Huh?
Yeah. We had a song made for that Queen of Cryptos, and you were inside that song.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Okay.
Yeah. So like, So like all the most of the women of Hexaco were in the song. So whether it was like Sammy Chica or SJ, so they were just kind of woven within the lyrics, if you will. Just shouts out to all the beautiful women that have, you know, really made this community what it is. I mean, I believe that, you know, we got quite an awesome community when it comes to just women who are so insightful. So
I can't even imagine all of those culminating and coming together, all of the women mentioned in that song. It is going to be epic, and we're hoping to be able to highlight that on the Shit Show, for sure.
For sure.
I look forward to it. Yeah. Thanks again, guys.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye. You guys, thanks for tuning in to the Shit Show, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tomorrow, we have ourselves Fast Abdul coming on from 2 Fucks. We're going to be talking some of the protocol stuff that he's doing and all that kind of good stuff. I'm going to showcase a quick video on that, and then I'll hit you guys with an outro. Appreciate you guys tuning in.
Crypto dreams, let's ride, let's ride. Ride! King Pui, never die. Best coins, take it high. Moonbound, touch the sky. Pumping, making waves on the blockchain craze. Let's ride, let's ride. Ride! King Pui, never die. Best coin, take it high. Moonbound, touch the sky. Pumping, making way.
All right, you guys.
Konnichiwa!
We will be back tomorrow with Fast Abdul. On the Shit Show, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So tomorrow is Wednesday. We'll be doing that. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Obviously, we'll outro you guys out here with the queens. We are trying to prop up the queens and allow them to shine. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Hoorah.
Crypto queens, yeah, we rising to the top. Richard Hart, Pulsechain will never stop. Self-improvement, wealth, we're breaking the mold. Queens of the kingdom, watch us unfold. Whitney Magic counting millions, moving fast. Charlie 2020, turning art into crypto cash. Mana bringing NFTs, painting digital dreams. Sammy Chica, Hexakid, Aussie pride on the scene. Tam repping Richard Hart every day. Evangelist for freedom, changing the game away. Jackie Mean Queen got the world laughing loud. Harmonic Hexakid singing to crypto crowds.
Queens of the kingdom, crypto in our veins. We own the future, breaking every chain. Hex and Pulsechain, building our wealth. King Pui, Queen Pui, reigning in stealth. From the shining city high on the hill, freedom through DeFi, we flexing that skill. Crypto's our path to self-improvement and gain. Queens of the blockchain, we're changing the game.
SMO spider weaving webs across the net. Viber Lindsay teaching how to grow and reset. CC blonde Texan, crypto crown untied. While SJ traveling, taking crypto to new heights. KTP OG from the land down under. Samantha yoga queen, Zen moves like thunder. Ashley Ash, cosmic cheat on another plane. Sandy Beach spreading love, changing up the game. Jory the network diva, connecting the dots. Rachel the education star, always on top. Crypto culture, a badass, bossing up with pride. Crypto stylist, always fashion by her side. Hot growth of my queen, stacking up her bags. Suzanne the diamond queen, dripping riches like swag. Queen the beauty beast, moving fierce, no delay. Expensive football queen, running plays all day.
Queens of the kingdom, crypto in our veins. We own the future, breaking every chain.
Hex and Pulsechain, building our wealth.
King Pui, Queen Pui, reigning in stealth.
From the
Shining city high on the hill, freedom through the fire, we flexing that skill.
crypto's our path to self-improvement and gain.
Queens of the blockchain, we're changing the game.
From Richard Hart's vision to our own crown, crypto queens are rising. We'll never back down. Pulsechain, Hex, DeFi, it's all in our hands. We're breaking the limits, taking over the lands. With King Pui, Queen Pui, we light up the scene. In the shining city, crypto reigns supreme. Queens of the kingdom, forever we strive. Freedom, wealth, and power, we keeping it live. We are the crypto queens, forever standing tall. In the kingdom of blockchain, we answer the call. Wealth, freedom, self-love, we found our way. The queens of crypto are here to stay.